Hey everyone, it's Erin, also known as Grishno, and I'm here with my beautiful, wonderful, amazing wife, Morgan.
Hi.
So we're here today because we wanted to have, first off, cheers.
Cheers.
It is a hot summer day, and we wanted to share a drink with you. But at the same time, we also wanted to come on and have a conversation about partners of trans people. And so Morgan, for the last,
Almost 10 years.
oh, that we've been partners. Yeah, I mean, that's been a long time.
Oh, that was not the years.
No. So I was thinking about the partners group.
Been about 18 months.
So Morgan's been involved with the a Partners of Trans People group at a local community center for about 18 months. And she's also been a partner of me as a trans person. I am a trans person for almost 10 years.
Well,
nine and a half. 9.5. But we've been
Knock
together,
on wood.
right? So we've been together for a long time. And so we wanted to come on and share some of the expertise. Like I'm not the expert on this. Morgan is. And so that's why she's here today to help us through this. So we were talking about this a little bit and just planning what we wanted to say. And one of the things that you said that I thought was really interesting was about identity. And you mentioned specifically that your identity isn't tied to the identity of your partner.
Yep. So we get a lot of people coming to the group whose long-term partner, be it their spouse, be it their long-term relationship, has just come out, and they're wondering what it means for them as a person. And it means a lot of different things for them as a person, but you aren't all of a sudden gay or straight or whatever just because your partner has come out. And I think we also know people who are, I think, oh man, you're gonna edit this part out, right?
No, I'm actually not editing this at all, so we're stuck with this. But you're right. So a lot of people, they'll be in a long-term relationship. I get a lot of messages online about from trans people who are just starting to come out, and they go online, they find my blogs, and they write to me and they ask my advice. And one of the biggest questions that I get is about how to talk to your partner about it. And oftentimes it's trans women, and they're in a marriage or a relationship with a woman, a cisgender woman, and all of a sudden their partner is worried. And they'll say things like, "I'm not a lesbian, so I can't." Like, they're worried about that, and so I think that's really what this is getting at, is that you're not a lesbian unless you are a lesbian.
Yeah, the great thing about labels is that you get to take them on yourself. And and I think that this harkens back to also some of the bi erasure that happens when people who are bi are in partnered with somebody who is of the opposite gender presentation than them. So they don't get to be a part of the queer community in that kind of way because they're in what seems like from the outside to be a hetero relationship. That being said, I feel like some of the bisexual people I know in hetero relationships have some of the queer relationships that I know, just the way they relate to each other.
So that I thought that was a really important point that partners should know, is that your identity has nothing to do with your partner. It's not tied to your partner. It's your identity, and it's something that it's about you and how you identify.
But that's hard, and it might change. And the way that somebody identifies 3 years ago might not be the way somebody identifies today. Just like we talk about gender as a spectrum, and sexual orientation is a spectrum, and it's not always something that stays the same.
Sorry about the dogs.
The dogs are awful.
As I mentioned, I don't have editing software installed on the computer yet, but we're still making videos.
Shit! So we really are going to see all of the flaws.
All of it. So I really apologize. So the other thing that I thought was really interesting that Morgan brought up, and we'll often talk about the partners group when you come home, And one day you were telling me that there are two types of people who come to a partners group. What are those two types of people?
For the first time when people come, it always seems like they're either looking for permission to leave their relationship, or they are looking for permission to stay in their relationship. And sometimes those conversations are heartbreaking, and sometimes we have somebody come in the first group, and they can't do it, and they don't know, and they don't know what they're going to do, and they can't imagine it, and then they come back 2 weeks later and are really excited about having gone clothes shopping with their partner. So it really it's not always evident in the first time. Like, I'm definitely surprised sometimes at the people who take some of the stuff they hear in group and use it to find reasons to stay, and I see a lot more of that than I see people coming to group looking to find reasons to leave. But there are some of that.
That's really interesting. One of the things I've always said about transitioning is that it is one of the most selfish things that you can do. And I mean that in sort of a good and sort of a bad way. In one way, a transition really it's all about you. It's all about changing your physical body to match how you identify. And so it's really the whole time you're going through this transition, you're focused on yourself and making it through this transition. And that is it's so important, because it's such a hard experience, really embracing your true self and letting that come out and figuring out what that is. Like, that is such a personal journey. But at the same time, it can also mean that maybe your partner doesn't always feel like they're getting the type of support that they need. So I have seen this, both with myself when I started my transition and in people that I've known. But it's hard, because it does feel like, as a trans person going through a transition, you need so much. You need so much energy from yourself, and you're not able to often give as much as you would like. And so that can be something. I thought that was sort of related to what you were saying.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that one of the things that we do that is really great about the partners group is it's a place for the partners to take up space. And so it's for a place for us to sometimes complain about how, oh my gosh, they're acting just like 14-year-olds.
We do that sometimes.
And
we didn't get to be 14-year-old girls. So, like, now's my chance.
Now's your chance.
Yeah, but I think that's so important, that partners are able to have that space and able to come together and share those stories and find community like that. The same way that it's important for me to be able to come online here and find a community of people that I can relate to. I think it's important for partners too.
Yeah, it's a tricky group to find, though, because a lot of them don't self-identify in the LGBT spectrum.
That's super true. And there's also, and we figured out a couple things we wanted to talk about, but we didn't even bring up stigma that's attached to dating trans people. And so I know, like, when I was doing HIV testing, one of the groups I wanted to be able to find and do HIV testing for was partners of trans people. And it was so hard to find them. Like, where do you advertise for partners of trans people? Like, it could be anyone, it could be anywhere. And as you mentioned, they may not identify as LGBT or within that community at all. And so it's,
or if they do, it is not feeling like it's of their own volition.
Yeah. So you also mentioned this line that you feel like sometimes partners have to walk between, and correct me if I'm misquoting.
I'm just not going to let you quote me at all.
Okay, great idea. Go.
Because I feel like there's a sense of, like, I'm your biggest cheerleader, and anybody does you wrong, and I want to hang them by their toenails and stick forks in their eyes.
Yeah.
And then pour lemon juice on their toenails and in their eyes.
How do you really feel?
And that's not always what you need.
Right.
And the days that whatever day anything happens, it might be a different sort of a thing of what you need. And so, if you get catcalled and barked, what we might need to do is just find a new bark car, leave the situation. If there, and so depending on kind of what the world is throwing at you and what you want, it can be really different. And the way that you need support can be really different. And so trying to figure out how to give you that space and, give you the space to blossom into the person that you are. And also, constrain the mama bear sometimes it's a tricky line to walk.
Yeah. And I feel that too. Like if anyone says anything about Morgan or like if anyone might bring harm to her or anything like that, like I will do anything to stop it. Like it's just like I can't even make words is how it makes me feel. And that as a partner, that must be really hard because you see your partner in so many situations that can be hurtful.
Yeah, or like when you're misgendered at the bank, is that something where, in my heart I am, trying to come in like flaming swords and smite that person who is disrespecting my woman.
That's me. I'm a woman.
But that's not always what you would want. And so, one of the things I think that I've figured out through, 9.5 years is what the way, like how you need support in those kinds of situations. And I think also, especially earlier in our relationship when, when you were changing hormone doses or things like that, what you needed in that moment was not always consistent.
Right.
And so that's also something that we talk about a lot in group is sort of trying to be supportive of our partners in the way that they need and, have that open line of communication to figure out how it's going to happen. And, that open line of communication when you fuck up.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
You can say fuck.
Okay.
This is an adult channel with adult content occasionally. Like I agree so much. Like the needs that you have when you're going through transition are constantly changing. And it's going to be very different when you start out and it's going to be very different when you're 5 years in or 10 years in. And so it's not ever going to be like there's never going to be one thing that's always going to work. It's always about finding what works here and now, in what your needs are in the moment, and not assuming that like what works for us might work for you, or what works for me 5 or 10 years ago might work for me now. It's always going to be changing, and that's why I think communication is so important. I think that's one of the things that really makes people strong. Anyway, we are 14 minutes into this video, so we are going to cut it short. However,
I have a PS.
PS.
You're going to fuck up sometimes, and you're going to get past it.
True.
It's just like any other relationship.
True words. You're going to fuck up. Be willing to say you're sorry. So if you have questions about if you're a partner, if you're partnered with somebody, if you're going through these sorts of issues, and you have a question, you want to keep this conversation going, leave a comment down below. We would both love to hear from you. We'll be checking in the comments section, and we always love hearing from people and about what they thought about the video. If you could give this video a like, if you made it all the way to 15 minutes in, then please give this a like, because it helps out so much in helping people find this. And I think that these are conversations that really need to happen. And if you want to keep seeing conversations like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. There's new videos every week, every Friday. And until next time, I'm Grishno.
I'm Morgan.
And I'll see you next time.